Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Today our lesson is about newspapers. How did it develop from 2000 years ago till now? From 2000 years ago, more than 1000 years ago, 400 years ago, 200 years ago, till now. Before starting of this lesson, the title of it, hold the front page. What does it mean? We will know the meaning of this title from these two paragraphs. Before starting, we want to know what are the meaning of or what are the important meaning for this lesson. Here, front, that means the part of something that you see first, اللي هو الواجهة الأمامية. To the second number, 1000, ألف, newspaper, صحيفة, important, مهم, each other, about, news event that have just happened, travel, battle, fight. And here are the rest of the meanings for this page. Death, wafa, more, أكثر. Chinese, a person from China. Government, a group of people that rules a country. Silk, حرير. Germany, printing presses. Sold, the past of the word sell. It's the verb to. Evening, dusk. Lots, الكثير أو العديد. Separate, منفصل. Reporter, a person who reports news. Decide, to make a decision, يقرر. Instead of, بدلا من. Photographer, a person who takes photos. Editor, a person who decides what goes in the newspaper or a magazine. Mistake, something done wrongly. And the rest of the meanings are magazine, a booklet with photos and articles. Inside, in. To, a very, or to, more. Seen, مشهد, appear, it is the opposite of disappear, يظهر. And else, آخر. These are the meanings, you have to memorize them. Now, we want to start of listening to the lesson. Listen to this recorder.
Pupils Book, page 76, Unit 7, Newspapers. Reading. Hold the front page. 2000 years ago. There were no newspapers. When something important happened, people told each other about it. News travelled slowly. Sometimes it was weeks before people heard about a battle or the death of a king. More than 1,000 years ago. The Chinese government wrote news on silk. It was news about what the government was doing. It did not tell people about other things that were happening. 400 years ago. The first newspaper appeared in Germany. It was printed every week. It took a long time to print all the copies. 200 years ago. The new printing presses could print much more quickly, and newspapers were sold on the streets every day. Now, we have newspapers in the morning and in the evening every day of the week, and millions of papers are sold all over the world. Some newspapers have lots of pages, and sometimes there is a separate magazine inside it too. Reporters go to the scene of a news story and find out what happened. They write about it, and photographers take pictures. The editor reads the reporter's work and decides what will be in the paper. If there are mistakes, the editor will change some words. Sometimes an editor says, "Hold the front page." This means a story is very good and will appear on the front page instead of something else. It is very exciting for the reporter who wrote it. The story on the next page was written by a young reporter. It is front page news.
This is enough for today's lesson. First, I want to explain each paragraph. The first one, what's the meaning of this title, Hold the Front Page? The meaning of it, we notice that it is here. This means a story is very good and will appear on the front page instead of other pages or something else. That means the story is very good. Hold the front page, that means the story or the news that you wrote, the writer wrote, will appear in the first page in the newspaper. راح تظهر على أول صفحة بالجريدة. This is the meaning of this title. Now, the development of a newspaper 2,000 years ago, before 2,000 years, before 2,000 years, what happened? There were no newspapers. طيب, how do news travel from one person to another? كيف كانت تنتقل الأخبار? When something important happened, people told each other about it. Like this. This man told this girl, and this girl will tell another person, and this person will and each one will tell another one. راح يتناقل الأخبار by talking to each other. News traveled slowly. In this way, news are traveling or traveled in the past slowly. كانت طريقة نقل الأخبار is very slow. Sometimes it was weeks before people heard about a battle or the death of a king. It takes weeks. It was weeks to hear about battle. في معركة بعد أسابيع. Not like today. أول ما يصير إشي you can hear it. If you are in America, you will hear anything that happened in Jordan or in any place. So nowadays news are very fast or faster than before 2,000 years ago, because before 2,000 years ago people told each other about the new things that happen. Now the questions on your booklet, page number 60. The first question is, wait, I want to hold it correctly. Okay. How did people get news 2,000 years ago? How, كيف did people get news before 2,000 years ago? So we want to find the answer from this paragraph. People told each other about news. So how the answer is, people told each other. Okay, this is the answer. Question number 2. How long did it take to get news? How long? We want to write the time. Sometimes it was weeks. The answer, it was weeks before people heard news. Okay, these are the questions about the first paragraph. Now the other paragraph number 2, is about more than 1,000 years ago. What does it mean? That means 1,000 years ago. That's it. 1,000 years ago. The Chinese government. Now we want to talk about China. The Chinese government wrote news on silks. They wrote news on silk اللي هو قطعة حرير. It was news about what government was doing. The news in this silk about this just the achievements of the government. إنجازات الحكومة. It didn't tell people about other things that were happening. That means just about the government, nothing else. Now the questions here, or the question, what did the Chinese government use to write news and ايش استخدموا؟ Chinese government wrote news on silk. كتبوهم على ايش؟ On silk. You have to write full answer. So the answer is the Chinese government used silk to write news in. Now the third paragraph, 400 years ago, before 400 years ago, that means this number, 400 years ago. The first newspaper appeared in Germany. It was printed every week. It took long time to print all the copies. So, the first newspaper in the world appeared in which country? In Germany, بألمانيا. It was printed not like today. Today we can find newspaper every day, but in the past, the German people printed one newspaper every week. كل أسبوع just one newspaper. Because why? It took very long time because it took very long time to print all the copies. That's why every week we have just one newspaper, because it took a long time to print all copies for the whole people that they want to read the newspapers. Now the questions on your booklet. How often did they print a newspaper in 400 years ago or before 400 years ago? How long بنكتب مدة. So it was printed every week. It took a long time. How often did they print a newspaper? كأني أنا قرأت سؤال ثاني. Okay. How often did they print a newspaper? It was printed every week. So the answer here, they printed newspapers every week. When did the first newspaper appear? When? متى? So you have to write number. The answer is 400 years ago. The first newspaper appeared. What does the pronoun it in the sentence "it was printed every week" refer to? Instead of it, we can write newspaper. This is about 400 years ago in Germany. Now 200 years ago. Before 200 years ago, what did happen? Or what happened? The new printing presses could print much more quickly. صار في عنا آلات طابعة printed more quickly than before 400 years ago, and newspaper were sold on the streets every day. You can find this man on the streets before 200 years ago, and they sold newspaper in the street when or how often? Every day. When? 200 years ago. Now the question here, when were newspapers sold on the streets every day? متى? The answer is 200 years ago. And the rest of the answer, newspapers sold on the streets every day. Now the last paragraph is about nowadays. We have newspapers in the morning and in the evening. We can find newspaper like الرأي, الغد, الدستور in the morning and السبيل and in the evening. Every day, in the morning and evening, every day, and each day you can find newspaper in the morning, and in the evening you can find another newspaper every day of the week, and millions of papers are sold all over the world. You can find million of newspapers around the world. Some newspapers have lots of pages, and sometimes there is a separate magazine inside that too. يعني in the newspaper you can find magazine جواها مجلة ملونة inside it too. هلا we wanted to know who are working in the newspapers companies, or who prepare the newspaper for us to be ready to read. مين اللي بيجهزوا لنا الجرايد؟ أول إشي we have the reporters. The reporters go to the scene of the news story and find out what happened. اللي هم الكاتبين المقال the reporters. Yes, reporters المراسل الصحفي go to the scene of the news story and find out what happened. بيشوفوا الأحداث. they refers to the reporters اللي هم المراسلين. write about it هم اللي بكتبوا. write about it. The other person is, or the other people who are working in the newspapers or helped to prepare the newspaper is a photographer, المصور. The photographers take pictures as any photographer. The third one is the editor, المحرر أو المدقق. The editor reads the reports, the reporter's work. بقرأ لنا شغل الريبورتر and decides what will be in the paper. If there are mistakes, the editor will change some words. يعني he find the mistakes number 1 بيلاقي لنا الأخطاء. number 2 change some words بغير بعض الكلمات. sometimes the editor say hold the front page. What does it mean hold the front page? We said it in the beginning of the class. حكينا بداية الحصة. إيش معنى hold the front page؟ امسك الصفحة الأولى. This means a story is a very good. طبعا المعنى الحرفي لإلها من امسك الصفحة الأولى، بس المعنى المجازي إنه المقال تبعك كتير رائع، عشان هيك رح يظهر بالصفحة الأولى. This means the story is very good and it will appear in the front page instead of any other thing or something else. It is very exciting for the reporters who wrote the story. طبعا as a reporter إذا أنت كنت مراسلة it's very interesting for you to say for you that the report that you wrote will appear in the first page. رح يكون على أول صفحة بالجريدة. And here in this page it is a front page. There is a reporter, young reporter wrote this we can say article or report. We will read it in the next class inshallah. And the last questions here we want to answer them. When do newspaper appear now? متى بيظهروا when? The answer is in the morning. طبعا capital letter in the morning and evening every day of the week. Every day of, that's it. The answer is from here. In the morning and evening every day of the week. هذا الجواب كامل. Every day of the week. What is sometimes inside the newspaper? Here is the keyword is inside. إيش بيكون جواها? Let us find the answer. Sometimes there is a separate magazine inside it. So the answer is sometimes there is a separate magazine inside it. Okay, what do reporters do? The job of the reporters. The keyword here is a reporter. Let us find it. That's it. Reporters go to the scene of the news story and find out what happened. This is the full answer. They write about it. يعني this line, the whole of this line is the answer. This is the end of our lesson. To remember, what did we say? What did we talk about? We talk about the news. How did the news travel before 2,000 years ago? It was traveling through people telling each other, and after that we talked about Chinese government when they wrote news in the silks, piece of silks, and after that we went to Germany. The first newspaper appeared in German. In Germany, and after that, before 200 years ago, when new printing presses appeared, and after that we talked about nowadays and the newspaper in our everyday life. Good luck and wish you a good day, and answer the questions on your booklet. Study very well and memorize the new meanings. Goodbye.